Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Cottonwood Creek podcast series. We do appreciate you spending a few moments of your day with us. If you do enjoy the episode, drop us a like, give us a share, and leave your thoughts in the comments section below. We'd love to hear from you.
Hey, this is Pastor John Mark, and welcome back to another Cottonwood Creek podcast episode. As we are starting this new year off, we have been focusing as a church on starting off with a clean slate, spiritually, relationally, emotionally, financially, but also we have been focusing on our health, and that's where today's guest comes in today. We're honored to be in studio with Nathalia Melo, one of Cottonwood Creek's own, and we're blessed. She has a long track record of competition, fitness, training, and we're going to be blessed today by Nathalia. Nathalia, tell everybody just a little bit about yourself.
First, thank you so much for having me. And I think that before we even start, I just wanted to say thank you for all that Cottonwood has done for me as a person. And since I joined, I can definitely see huge difference on my spiritual life. So thank you very much for that. A little bit about my background. Now I'm a mom of two, a wife, and from my fitness background, I started working out when I was 14.
Right.
I'm about to turn 37, so it's been a while. And when I was around 20 years old, I felt like I needed to focus on something, and I decided to sign up for a fitness competition. In the beginning, it was just like, let's see what happens kind of thing. And then it really became very serious, and I won the most prestigious bodybuilding competition in the world, which is the Olympia. And from that, I was given a lot of opportunities. And I have done seminars about fitness and teaching trainers, teaching coaches in nearly 30 different countries. I've traveled from Siberia in Russia, Australia, South Africa, Italy, Scandinavia, all over the place. And I think that has also been a very good eye-opening experience to see how fitness is different in the different parts of the world, which I feel like now as a coach, I have decided to focus more in moms because I am a mother myself, and I noticed that there was a lot of gaps when it came to information for moms. And And now I noticed that background of doing seminars in so many different places has enabled me to have different tools in my toolbox when it comes to helping people, because I have seen so many different gyms, spoken with so many different coaches, have done so many different courses all over the place.
Right.
So, that's a little bit about me.
So, and tell us where you grew up.
Oh, yeah, I forgot that part.
That's okay.
I am originally from Brazil.
Okay.
In Brazil, funnily enough, when I was 16, I was an exchange student in Louisiana.
Okay.
Yes, in Leesville, Louisiana, which is near a military base. Then I went back to Brazil, got in law school.
Okay.
Law school in Brazil is a bachelor's degree, not a master's degree. And halfway through, I looked at my mom. I'm like, I'm done. And then she's like, what do you mean you're done? She's like, you're about to be a lawyer. And I'm like, I can't do this. So I literally just sold my car, my Fiat Uno, white, whatever was left from the money. I moved back to the U.S. because I just wanted to, I knew there were other things in life that I wanted to do.
Right.
And then here we are.
Here you are. And it's not just here we are, as you mentioned, the competition, but you have been on either the cover or in the pages of a number of different magazines just because your fitness, your success in competing, but also your training. You've been in Cosmopolitan, Muscle and Fitness, Oxygen, Fitness RX, Muscular Development Daily, Mail, and a number of others. So you've made the right choice, right? You made the right choice. Are you glad you're not a lawyer right now?
Oh, yes, absolutely. And it's funny because before I went to law school, because in Brazil, for you to be a personal trainer, you have to go to university. It is a university degree. And I always told my mom that that's what I wanted to do. She's like, that's not a future. And she kept, I knew she was looking after me, but I was like, but that's what I like. And then here we are many years later.
Yeah. I love that thought is, we always talk about following your passion.
Yeah.
And you acknowledge that your mom was looking out for you,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And there's always that fine line, just as we think about wanting to encourage people to follow their passion, but you also want to make sure there's a win out there, right?
Yeah.
There needs to be something that you can feed your family and support your family with, and you found it, and you've done a great job with it.
Yeah.
Now, as I think about, you said that you've done seminars in almost 30 countries around the world, which has put a lot of tools in your tool belt. You have been a personal trainer for over 15 years, right?
Yeah, close to 15 years, about 15 years, yeah.
And then one of the things I was noticing as we were talking that you said, it was one thing to train when I didn't have children, but then you had children. And you said now you're a mother of two.
Yeah.
And one of your passions is to work with moms and to help moms stay fit or get fit. So kind of give me your heartbeat behind that. What really led in even to that transition?
Ooh, that's a very good question. It was mostly, so I felt pregnant and I had already a lot of experience in fitness, but then I was pregnant and I'm like, hold on a second, what can I do?
Right.
Because it is not just about you. The moment you become pregnant, it's not solely about you. So you need to be very aware and safe with what the things that you're doing. So that's kind of when I start to research more information, start to take all these different courses. And the more I researched, the more I looked, the more confused I start to get because there is so much conflicting information, so little research when it comes to training during pregnancy and after pregnancy. And the more I spoke with moms, I realized that there was a problem that needed to be solved. Oh. And I've never coached people who were getting ready for competitions because it wasn't my passion. And then whenever I got pregnant, I started to speak with women and speak with moms. I was like, that's it.
That's your passion.
Yeah, like to this day, I can work, and I'm doing air quotes for the people listening, for 15 hours solid, and it doesn't feel like work because that is what I truly love. My husband sometimes needs to tell me, okay, can you just step away? I'm like, but I can't. I want to help all the people.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. Well, part of working with moms and people who aren't necessarily training for a competition, you and I have talked about the importance as we think about becoming more fit, whether we're men or moms or whatever. You're no longer training just for you or just for a competition. You've got a family, right?
Yeah.
So talk to us a little bit. You really do a good job of laying out how to set goals and the importance of goals. So kind of give us your thoughts on setting goals if we want to get more fit.
Yeah, I think that even before we talk about setting goals, it is important to talk about how important it is to take care of yourself in order for you to show up to your family, to your kids, to your partner, the best version of yourself.
Right.
Because the moment that, and I see this a lot with the moms that I work with and probably with a lot of dads too, I know that you want to give all you have to your kids and to your partner. But whenever you don't focus a little bit on yourself and your well-being, you might start to resent those people because you might be feeling that they're not allowing you to take some time for yourself.
Right.
So in order for you to show up being the best version of yourself, you need to feel your best self.
Right.
And I think that setting your goals is part of that. We always talk about, I talk about with my ladies, especially in the beginning of the year, setting realistic goals and setting attainable goals. Obviously, you want that big goal, but breaking that big goal into small little pieces so you can celebrate your way into the big goal. And when I talk about realistic, especially in the new year, you have people who are going from not training at all to being like, oh yeah, I'm going to be in the gym 7 days a week, training 3 hours a day. And then a month in, they're completely burned out because that goal was not realistic to their life.
Right.
I mean, if your job is not to be fit,
right.
And you have a full-time job and you have a family and you have other things that are also a priority in your life, trying to go all crazy right out of the gate is only going to lead you to frustration. And then the first day that you're like, oh, I can't do this, you're just going to throw the baby with the bathwater and just give up.
Right.
So starting small. So if you're coming from not doing nothing at all, instead of committing 5-6 days a week, how about we start with a couple days a week for 30 minutes, see
Right.
how it goes, and then increase from there.
Right. So set a realistic goal. You mentioned starting off, and we're at the new year, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people make all kinds of goals,
Yeah.
and then they fail.
Yeah.
We drop, and it's the same thing. We talked about this is not just physically, spiritually. Sometimes we drop the ball. And what's your encouragement when it relates to physically? When someone sets a goal to eat healthier or start in their fitness program, and then all of a sudden they miss and they drop the ball and they get discouraged a little bit. What's your encouragement to those people?
And I think that is a great question, because that's even, and it speaks to me even from a faith standpoint that I mentioned to you before we start recording, is that I think that whenever you kind of, quote unquote, fall off the wagon on your fitness, it's kind of like whenever you fall off your wagon a little bit on your faith and you stop attending church and you stop being connected with your prayers and all those things. The only way to get back is to get back.
Yeah. Just get back.
Just get back, to start somewhere with whatever you can with the time that you have. And allow yourself some grace, because there will be seasons of life that will be a bit harder to commit more time. But do what you can. I have a lot of clients who have very stressful jobs. I have a client who is a lawyer. She works about 13, 14 hours a day. And sometimes she texts me and she's like, Nathalia, I don't know what to do. I'm like, if you can at least maintain your steps for the day that I tell you to do, I'll be happy with that.
Right.
Because that not only gives that drive to keep on going, it makes the person feel accomplished, that they have done something.
Yeah.
So we start with something, whatever it is that you can.
Yeah. And just for her, you just said, hey, get your steps in, right?
Yeah, get your steps in. And even like whenever we first started, she probably was getting like 3,000 steps a day.
Okay.
So I'm not going to go, and that's an advice that I give to a lot of people as well. Don't go, that's another realistic goal as well. Don't go from like 3,000 steps to like, oh yeah, I'm going to get 15,000 steps every single day. That is too much of a big jump to commit. So how about we go from 3,000 steps to 5,000 steps?
Right.
Then once you get on the groove of the 5,000 steps, you're like, okay, maybe I can do a bit more.
Right.
Then you go to 7,000 steps. So those small bite goals to get to the big goal,
Right.
it's incredibly important.
Right. That's good. That's good. Now, do you have, steps are important. We're in the middle of a step challenge here at the church.
Yeah.
And it's been neat to see literally hundreds of people sign up.
I signed up.
And it's good. And for me, I set a goal. My stretch goal was 20,000 steps a day.
Yeah.
I haven't made it once. But what I've done is I've gotten over 15,000 steps every day. Now, I was probably a 10,000 step guy.
Yeah.
So for me to go from 10,000 to 15 is not that hard. For me to get to 20, that's a stretch.
Yeah.
I haven't made it yet.
Yeah.
But Gina keeps reminding me of that. My wife, she keeps reminding me of that. But I do beat her. But so you have
just throw it out there.
Yeah, just to lay it out there. I keep telling her, try to keep up. I love that idea of going from 3,000 to 5,000 or whatever. I've heard from, or I've at least read in articles, step goals, that if you can get 10,000 steps in a day, that's a good, healthy number. Yeah. I know that changes for everybody, but do you have a thought when it's related to steps?
I like the idea of a 10,000 goals, because it's just like a pretty number, kind of.
Yeah.
But again, I think it always goes back to making the sustainable goals.
Right.
So if we're talking about somebody who is very sedentary and has a desk job and it's sitting all day, it might not be very realistic for them to go right out of the gate for 10,000 steps. But then they might be able to start to incorporate ways to increase their step count per day. I don't know, go take the dog for a walk, or take the neighbor's dog for a walk, take the kids for a walk. And my husband sometimes, I hope he doesn't listen to this because he's going to kill me. But he would do laps around the house, inside the house, to get you his steps. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Well, you got to get them in, right?
Yes.
You got to get them in.
And that's what I mean. Like, do what you can with what you have.
Yeah. And I like that. Is all you have to do is do a little more, right?
Yeah. And I think that is also with the food, because I feel like the nutrition part is something that a lot of people struggle with, and they try to go from like eating all the things.
Right.
To eating lettuce and ice cubes.
Right.
You know what I mean? So how about okay, you're eating all the things. How about we start still eating all the things, but reducing the portion of all the things?
Right.
That's a step forward. And then you're probably going to start to see some results. And then whenever you start seeing some results and you have the win, you're going to be like, ooh, I'm happy here. I want more.
Right.
And then that's when you start to incorporate the more complex strategies. But I think that trying to go crazy with going from all the things to lettuce and ice cubes, it's just not sustainable and feasible.
That's certainly not long-term, for sure.
Long-term, yes.
And that's what I've always liked about you, as I've heard more and more about how you train and you teach ladies in our church, and you taught a class here, is that it's just, for me, a very achievable thing to do in your plan and the way you work with people. Because it's not go crazy. It's not all of a sudden change all of your eating, change all of your exercise. Let's just do something a little more.
Yeah.
Let's do something you can get to, and then we'll increase that again. Let me ask you a question. When you think about food, let's talk about nutrition.
Yeah.
Give us a couple of quick thoughts nutritionally, and I don't know if you want to break it up for men and women, or and you've got a particular passion on about moms. So if you want to speak into moms, kind of give us a other than portion, what would be one or two good ideas on nutrition that would help us all?
And just to add on your other point about the balanced thing that I have found my space is, I'm so passionate about this because I had to go from an all or nothing mindset. Whenever you're competing, you are sleeping, waking up, breathing, doing all the things, thinking about your fitness 24/7. And whenever I became a mom, I realized that was not realistic.
Right.
It wasn't something like I couldn't spend 5 hours in the gym anymore. It just didn't fit with my life. So that's why I've become so passionate about this sustainable approach, because that's what I had to find for my life in order to find that happy medium of still being able to go on a date night with my husband, have an ice cream with my kids, and be in a shape that I am comfortable and be healthy.
Right.
And still do the things that I like going to the gym, but not for 5 hours a day.
Right. Right. As you think about that, let's go back. You mind telling us a little about when you trained? I think that'd be interesting for our people to hear. You mentioned working 5 hours.
For competitions?
Yeah, for competition.
It was madness. And I mean, I loved it. I loved it because that was my life.
Right.
And I'm very grateful for it. But I don't think that it is something, and everybody always asks me in the competition arena, when are you coming back? And I'm like, never.
Yeah. You love your life.
I love my life. And I think that whenever you are competing, especially at that level, there is nothing above the Olympia. It's like the Super Bowl of bodybuilding.
Right.
But it's not the Super Bowl of bodybuilding in the United States. It's in the world. You have competitors from all over the world. So, and whenever you have competed at that level, you cannot just kind of like, I'm just kind of going to do it. So it was all in.
Yeah.
And so I'll train 4 to 5 hours a day and work a full-time job. And so
it was your life. It was
my life. It was my life. And I think it's funny as I look, I almost feel like one of the reasons why I was so in was because everybody said that I couldn't do it.
Okay.
And I'm like, hold my tea.
Yeah.
Hold my tea.
Yeah. I'll show you.
Challenge accepted. So I remember when I told my coworkers that I was doing it, they would bring food to work that would tempt me. And I'm like, no, I can't do it.
That's funny. So you're in the gym 5 hours a day. Tell us what you eat in a competition like that. We're not going to eat like this, by the way, but we'd love to know. Yeah, please don't. I love that.
Oh, it's so inadvertent. Like, it's so boring. Basically, like, just grilled all the things, especially lean protein, chicken, white fish, some steak, lean steak, shrimp. Even shrimp was a bit of a treat.
Okay.
Like, it was like, I get shrimp today, so exciting. And carbs would be mostly complex carbs like sweet potato, brown rice, quinoa. Vegetables, always grilled, very little seasoning, very little oil. And I remember, like, you have to pre-pack all your food and have Ziploc bags. It's a very alien lifestyle for somebody who is quote unquote normal.
Right. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
All right, and then so now going
Yeah.
back, you've mentioned.
Sorry,
no,
went on a tangent.
that's great. We want to know because that's a unique lifestyle. It's you got to be all in, right?
Yeah.
And that's great. And now as we think about today, nutrition, you said, man, let's start in an area nutritionally where maybe you just trim down portion size. You don't give up everything. Other nutritional tips for us for the average person?
Yes. One, if it's too good to be true, it probably is.
Okay.
I know that especially when it comes to the beginning of the year, there are all these amazing miracle promises, lose 30 pounds in 2 days kind of stuff.
Right.
If it's probably not, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. So be realistic. I know that a lot of people sometimes are a bit more desperate and they want to believe in all the things, but think about your health first. And if it's promising you that it's gonna make you lose X amount and it sounds too crazy, maybe ask yourself if that is the route that you want to go, because a lot of times these strategies, they're too aggressive. Chances are that you're just going to bounce back and it's just going to add to the frustration.
Right.
So look at it, and this is tip number 2, look at it in the long run and understand that it's not just a one-off kind of diet. Because if you go on that one diet and you lose like 20 pounds, but you go back to your old patterns,
Right.
it's just going to come back.
Right.
So whenever you're creating something, to make sure that you can stick to, look long term and be like, can I see myself eating this way 6 months down the line, 1 year down the line? And if the answer is no, then we need to reevaluate.
Right.
And number 3 would be, I feel like a lot of times people focus too much on the trees and they forget about the forest.
Okay.
So example that I'm going to use even from one of my seminars that I was speaking with a trainer. The trainer comes to me. He's like, oh, Nathalia, I have this client and I want that client to carb cycle. And he starts talking about all these very advanced strategies that I used to use as a competitor.
Right.
Okay. And I'm not saying that the advanced strategies are a bad idea. But then I was like, okay, you want to use all these fancy things. Let's go back a little bit. Have you looked at that person's caloric intake? What does that person do for a living? What is their social life like? Do they like to go on date nights? Do they have kids? Do they like to go to kids' birthday party? And you need to evaluate the person's lifestyle in order to make that judgment. And then after talking to this personal trainer, I realized that the client that he was referring to wasn't even watching her caloric intake. So why are you going to carb cycle and start to get all complicated and like just to sound fancy if you're not even gotten to the very basic level nutritional advice? Just reduce a little bit of your calories. And if as we progress, those things stop to work. And even with my clients, I will only do some kind of calorie cycling, carb cycling, any kind of cycling of all the things after we've been working together for at least 6 months.
Right.
And if we've gotten to a plateau stage where we're not seeing a lot of response, okay, let's try the different strategies. But the first thing is give me a food diary of what you're eating. The one that I normally recommend is MyFitnessPal. That's the best way to start. Log your food. See how much you're actually eating. Because the other problem is that a lot of people grossly underestimate how much they eat.
Right.
I see that a lot of times even in the gym. I'll go to the gym and then I see a person walking on a treadmill for about 15 minutes, talking for another 45. And then they go downstairs and then they have a protein shake that has 700 calories. I'm like, you did not burn 700 calories.
Yeah.
In that.
You came to the gym and gained weight.
Yes, absolutely. And I actually have a funny story about myself. Before I start to understand a little bit about nutrition, I used to go to the gym, and on my way to the gym, I used to buy almonds, a bag of almonds. And here is tip number 4. Just because it's healthy, it doesn't mean that it's going to lead you into fat loss, because a lot of healthy foods still have a lot of calories.
Right.
Food have calories. So I would buy my bag of almonds, and then I would eat half a bag of almonds on my way to the gym. And then through the rest of the day, I would snack on the rest of the almonds. And I wasn't losing weight. I was actually gaining weight. And I didn't understand. And I'm like, what's happening? I don't get it. Well, it turns out that I was consuming well over 3,000 calories just from a bag of almonds.
Just from that bag of almonds. And then anything else you eat.
And then everything else I ate. And because I thought that I was eating healthy and that healthy didn't have calories, it was 3,000 plus my normal consumption, which was probably another 1,800 calories. So understanding that just because something is healthy doesn't mean that you can eat all of it, it's another very important tip.
Yeah. Because a large role of it is, in any 24-hour given period, is calories in, calories burned, right? I mean, that's what it comes down to regardless.
Yes. Yeah.
You want it to be as healthy as possible, what we consume.
Yeah.
But even if it's healthy stuff and
Yeah.
we consume twice the amount of calories we can burn in a day, we're going to gain weight,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, absolutely. And one mistake that people have, and they're like, oh, I'm in a calorie deficit. That's the term that you use whenever you're eating less than you burn. I'm in a calorie deficit, but I'm not losing weight. It is important to understand that if you're not losing weight, by default, you are not in a calorie deficit. Fat loss is a consequence of a calorie deficit. And I think whenever you start to grasp this idea, it makes it a lot easier to understand and make progress.
Right. Now, one of the things when you walked in here, you had a big jug of water. There's a water bottle over there.
He's going to judge me.
No, I'm not judging you at all. I think it's great. So we did say that we were going to talk about this.
Yeah.
In a given day for the average person, as we're looking to get healthier, do you have any water consumption recommendations? I mean, how much should we really be? You see people that talk about, well, we need to drink 1.5 gallons.
Yeah.
I need to drink, certain glasses. What are your thoughts on just consuming water?
The advice that I normally give my clients is I like the gallon water because it allows me to always have it available, especially when you're a busy person, mom, dad, whatever. Whenever you have, like, let's say a small bottle of water like this, it finishes, you're caught up on the busyness of life. It's very hard for you to stop and be like, let me fill it up again, because you're just on the go, go, go. And that's what I like about the gallon. I always have it available. And whenever it comes with advice, there is a lot out there on the internet, 8 ounces, 16 ounces, all the things. But my recommendation is more to pay attention to your biofeedback, how your body's responding. Even, and you look at your urine, that's, it's like clear, then you're drinking good water. If it's like bright yellow, then we need to improve that. And I feel like our bodies tell us what it needs. We just need to pay a little bit more attention to it.
Right. Yeah, your body will tell you. Something that you and I discussed earlier that you mentioned is sometimes we get cravings, and I'm that way. I all of a sudden will just get hungry. And you've got a trick that start with water, right?
Yeah. I can't remember exactly what research that is, but I'm pretty sure that I have read there is a research that says that 30% of the time when you are hungry, you're actually thirsty. And if you drink water, and that's a technique that even a lot of researchers use, like nutritional researchers use with their clients, and that's the kind of advice. Try to drink water whenever you get hungry. And if you're still hungry, it's probably because you're actually hungry. You're not just thirsty. And having some water before a meal also can help you eat a bit less than you normally would.
Right. So start with water. And if 30% of the time you can curb your hunger with water, that's going to reduce a lot of calories.
Okay. And that's the thing. Whenever we talk about the different diets and things like that, I think that people get too caught up on the diet, keto, intermittent fasting, low carb, low fat, low all the things, when all these are strategies to get to the same end goal, which is create a calorie deficit.
Right.
So whichever path or whichever tool you choose to get there, that's where you're going.
Right.
So you need to find the tool that is going to be more realistic for your life to get there.
For your life. And I don't want to misrepresent you, but you and I have talked about this in the past. You're not a big fan of diets, right?
No, it's not that I'm not a big fan of labeling diets and saying that this is the one thing that works and that's it and nothing else works, because people are different. And I feel like the nutritional strategy that they use to accomplish their goals need to be different for the individuals, because some people prefer, and that's another thing. For example, whenever I'm working with my clients, I ask, what kind of food do you like? What is your descent? Because I know I have a client, for example, is of Mexican descent. She really loves guacamole. We know that avocado is very high in fat. So whenever I'm creating her plan, I have to keep that in mind, that maybe she doesn't want a lot of carbs. She wants more fats.
Right.
So all these things you kind of have to adapt to the different person.
So then any of these diets can be effective as long as they fit your lifestyle. That's
Exactly.
What you're saying.
Exactly.
Okay. Now, well, let's go in. One other thing before we leave nutrition.
Sure.
Do you have a couple of go-to snacks that you encourage your clients? Do you have a couple of go-to snacks in between meals? Grab this will fill you up, but it won't hurt you too bad.
Yeah. A tip that I always have is to always have, and I'm guilty of that, to always have food in your fridge available that is very nutrient dense. Like the healthy foods, they're easy to grab, because one of the reasons why we normally go for the unhealthy options as far as like very processed foods and things like that. And the thing is that people look at processed food as they're terrible. Well, they're not really great, but the reason why they make you gain weight when consumed too much of it is because they are very high palatable. So it's very easy for you to overeat. And because they have so many calories in one small portion, whenever you eat loads of it, then there are more calories coming in. So if you can go for some chopped, like pineapple, instead of a bag of Oreos.
Okay, that was a shot at me. I felt that. So,
you felt personally attacked.
Yeah, I felt personally attacked. But go ahead. You're right.
Whenever you have, like, say, Market Street, not plug-in, not sponsored by any means, but they have like this chopped fruit kind of tray that I always have in my fridge. So whenever I want something more on the sweet side, I'll grab a few strawberries, pineapple, and then eat that, and then I don't need the cookie anymore.
Right.
That's tip number one. Another very good source of protein, and that is an easy snack. It's Greek yogurt.
Okay.
Like even if it's flavored Greek yogurt, that's okay. It's a very good snack. You can even break some graham crackers inside of it, and almost like, if you get the lemon one, that's a snack that I like. It tastes like lemon meringue pie.
Okay.
And it's a very good snack, rich in protein, and it's going to keep you fuller for longer.
Yeah. And you mentioned the Greek yogurt, because going all the way back to some of the drinks you can get at the club, right?
Yeah.
I mean, your workout club, that you look at some of the calorie counts on those and the sugar content on some of those healthy protein shakes, and you've totally defeated yourself. And it's the same thing when you go through Starbucks. You can order a coffee that's not a coffee; it's just a dessert, is what it is. Yeah. But then even as you just mentioned the Greek yogurt, we've over the years eaten yogurt a lot, and then you step back and you look at the yogurt and you're like, boy, that is unhealthy. There's way too much sugar. Yeah. But the Greek yogurt is the way to go. You pointed that out.
Yeah, I like Greek yogurt because it is very rich in protein.
Okay.
And again, have to look out for the content of all the other things, because that's going to add to your calorie count.
Okay.
But if that is going to hold you back and stop you from eating, have a bag of Oreos, then that's a good option.
Okay.
You know
I got it. I mean? Okay. Good. No, that's great. That's great.
And another thing, protein bars. People think that all protein bars are the same. Some of them are just glamorized Snicker bars.
Okay.
If you look at the caloric content of some protein powder, some protein bars, it actually has more calories than a Snicker bar.
Right.
It is insane. So it starts to become familiarized with the amount of calories and things like that. It's going to be very eye-opening.
Okay. Now let's go into the gym.
Yeah.
Let's go into the gym and just help the average person, not the competitor, the person who is trying to get back into the gym. They know they need to get healthier, just like we need to eat better to get healthier. We need to get back in the gym. What would be your recommendation for people in general? And then, like you said, you have a passion of working with moms. If a mom is maybe she hasn't been working out, but she's going to go get in the gym. What are some key aspects of making sure a gym trip is successful and sustainable? Right?
Yes.
Both of those.
First, pay attention to commitment that we spoke before. Don't go crazy and commit I'm going to be there 7 days a week. Because it might not fit with your life. Start small. And then the other thing is find something you like. I know there is a lot of information, especially when you go on social media. Oh, this is better than that. And cardio before you lift weights. And find something because you can have the most amazing plan created by the best trainer in the world. If you're not following it, that plan is worthless. So find something that you enjoy. I've seen a lot of people bad-mouthing Zumba, bad-mouthing spinning, a lot of fitness professionals. I love them all. I like all of it because if my client can stick to a Zumba class instead of running on a treadmill, that's a win. That's something that she's doing that is not sitting on the couch. Right. So supporting, understanding that, finding that you're only going to stick to something that you enjoy. Like, for example, running, not my jam. You wouldn't catch me running. Don't like it. So if somebody were like, oh, your only option to stay fit is a running club, I would be like, oh.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't show up. Like the idea of waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning to go for a run outside is not ideal for me. For some people, they love it. Yeah. So it's just finding that one thing that you enjoy and that you don't dread showing up for.
Right. And so that's kind of like the same thing with eating, right? Find something that fits your lifestyle. When you go to the gym, figure out what you like. If you like weight training, you would say, go train weights. Yeah. If you like cardio, do cardio. If you like the classes, do the classes. So it really doesn't matter, right?
Yeah, and I feel like for people, especially let's say people that have never been to the gym, I understand that a weight room can feel very intimidating.
Right.
I mean, even I have been weightlifting since I was 14. And even sometimes when I go to different gyms, they're not my home gym, I still feel a bit intimidated when I walk into a new place. So I can only imagine how it feels to be a person who doesn't know who are not confident on the things that they're doing, walking into a new place and going to a weight room and being like, oh yeah, let me lift all the weights here. It can be intimidating. So maybe even joining the different classes and things like that can be a step forward to becoming more comfortable with the gym environment.
Right.
And you don't have to go to the gym either. If you feel more confident training from home, finding a program that works for you. And that's another thing I tell my moms. If the program, let's say it's 45 minutes and they don't have 45 solid minutes, okay, do 20 minutes in the morning before the kids wake up and then do 25 minutes when the kids go to bed. Mm-hmm. So even splitting up to make it something that you can stick to, that can be done.
Okay, very good. You mentioned moms, tips for moms.
Yeah.
I'd really love, as we get ready to close this out, anything else you want to say, but talk a little bit to moms. Just kind of say, hey, moms, we're New Year. Here are a couple of ideas. Let's consider this, and it may encompass everything we've already talked about. But I know this is a passion of yours.
Yeah, I think that my first advice, I think we briefly touched that, and I see a lot with my audience is that women. And this happens even with women who used to be super fit before having kids, that they completely neglect themselves. And there is a message that has been created out there that is almost like they want to make moms feel like a martyr. So if you take some time for yourself to take care of yourself, you're a terrible mother. Yeah. But the reality is that you cannot be your best mom or dad even. Yeah. If you're not take care of yourself, even for your marriage and for your relationship, it's healthy.
Right.
it's healthy and it's not selfish, because what I see a lot, it's moms start resenting their kids and start resenting their partners because they're not being able to take that little bit of time for themselves. So make the time.
Yeah. I love that idea. You don't have to be a martyr.
Yeah,
That you need to take some time for yourself.
Yeah, and start small and like have a meeting, family meeting, and be like, here are my goals. This is what I want to accomplish. And don't be afraid of asking for help.
Right.
I see a lot, and I've been guilty of that, as guilty can come, of trying to do all the things myself. And I'm like, stop, hold on a second. My husband wants to do things, and I'm not allowing him to do the things. Oh. So allowing people to help you, allowing people to step in so you have that time for yourself. Because it very often moms lose their identity whenever they become moms. And finding that identity as an individual will make them a much better parent.
Mm-hmm. Well, Nathalia, thank you so much for your time and coming in here and just giving us wisdom. And if someone wants to reach out to you or follow you, give us some recommendations on where you want them to follow you or connect with you.
Thank you so much. Instagram, Nathalia Melo Fit, Nathalia Melo Fit. I respond to all DMs. I'm very present on my social media. I love connecting. I just feel like it is a lot of people on social media don't answer to DMs. I love that human interaction, human connection, help as many people as possible, regardless if they join my programs or not.
Right.
I think that joining my program is just a consequence of enjoying what I have to offer. My website, NathaliaMeloFit.com. And also on the nutrition part, my husband and I are starting a supplement company, because that's one thing that we noticed, that a lot of moms and dads had a hard time getting all their protein in or eating accordingly. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to create something that I truly believe in and that I can get 100% behind, that I know everything that goes in it. So we're starting a supplement company, and that's called M-Body.
M-Body.
Yeah, the letter M, Body, which is on M-Body Nutrition on Instagram.
Okay.
So we're super excited for that.
Very good. Very good. Well, thanks so much for joining us today and giving us all the wisdom, and we wish you all the best. And just as your pastor, it's always good just to see you right out there. And
second row.
Yeah, second row. You're a second row person.
Yeah.
And just know, not only are you staying spiritually fit, relationally fit with Roger and family, but also helping others stay physically fit. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Oh, and another thing on my website, if the ladies, they want some kind of free plan, I have loads of free plans. You don't have to get anything from me. If you go to the free plans on the tab on my website, there are several for them to choose from. So if you want to check it out, it's on my website.
So be sure and check it out. You heard Instagram, the website, M-Body coming, but also, as Nathalia just said, she's got some free plans out there. Just go to her website and download one and just get started. Most important thing, just get started.
Start with whatever you can.
All right.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Hey, y'all have a great day.
Well, you made it to the end of the episode. Be sure to check out all the previous podcasts and subscribe so you won't miss the next one. If you have any ideas for future topics, feel free to leave them in the comments section. Don't forget to connect with Cottonwood Creek on our social media accounts and stop by the website to take a look at all the exciting events and opportunities we have coming up. Have a blessed day.